To my brothers and sisters in Tom's Hope, welcome to this four-part series on humility and pride. The first two parts will be on humility, and the last two parts will be on pride. Each segment will be between 5 and 6 minutes long. The first reading that I'll take today will be from Matthew chapter 21, verses 1 through 11. But as a reminder, these musings are not about me. These musings are about the Bible and Jesus Christ, and they are a biblical message. Now let me read Matthew 21, verses 1 through 11. Now when they drew near Jerusalem and came to Bethphage at the Mount of Olives, then Jesus sent two disciples, saying to them, "Go into the village opposite you, and immediately you'll find a donkey tied and a colt with her. Loose them and bring them to me. If anyone says anything to you, you shall say, 'The Lord has need of them,' and immediately he will send them." All this was done that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the prophet, saying, "Tell the daughter of Zion, behold, your king is coming to you, lowly and sitting on a donkey, a colt, the foal of a donkey." So the disciples went and did as Jesus commanded them. They brought the donkey and the colt, laid their clothes on them, and set him on them. And a very great multitude spread their clothes on the road. Others cut down branches from the trees and spread them on the road. Then the multitudes who went before and those who followed cried out, saying, "Hosanna to the Son of David. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Hosanna in the highest." And when he had come into Jerusalem, all the city was moved, saying, "Who is this?" So the multitude said, "This is Jesus, the prophet from Nazareth of Galilee." I read this message because according to the tradition of our religion, and it's not a biblical tradition, this is considered Palm Sunday. Today is Palm Sunday. But I read it primarily because it solidified the true essence of Jesus' character on earth, and it is that of humility. Let me go back to verse 5. I want to re-emphasize verse 5. "Tell the daughter of Zion, behold, your king is coming to you, lowly and sitting on a donkey, a colt, the foal of a donkey." Jesus rode in on a donkey. He humbly accepted the platitudes of the people. He was not boasting, and he was not haughty, he was not puffed up. Jesus exhibited humility during his entire ministry on earth. That is, he had complete dependency on God. He did the will of God at all times. And that, to me, is the essence of humility. And that is being completely dependent on God and doing the will of God at all times. Jesus said this in John chapter 6, verse 38. "For I have come down from heaven not to do my own will, but the will of him who sent me." So Jesus affirmed that he was doing the will of God. And even though Jesus came down from heaven, he made himself of no reputation, taking the form of a bond servant and coming in the likeness of men. And being found in appearance as a man, he humbled himself and became obedient to the point of death, even the death of the cross. That was taken from Philippians 2, verses 7 and 8. So Jesus gave up his privileges in heaven, came down to earth in the likeness of man, and he was completely obedient to God, obedient even to the time of death. That is the essence of humility. He's completely dependent and obedient to God the Father. And when the verse says bondservant means a slave, one who is subject to the authority of another. So Jesus subjected himself to the authority of God. So that is true biblical humility, complete dependence on God and complete obedience to God. Jesus was obedient to God's will and followed all of God's commands, demonstrating to us, to me, to you, how to live our lives in humility to God the Father. Jesus taught me humility, and he teaches you humility by the example of his behavior on earth, and also as he taught in Matthew chapter 5 verse 7, blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Humility is strength in God. It is not human weakness. Personally, God requires me to be humble in my walk with him. And I quote from Micah chapter 6 verse 8, he has shown you, O man, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you, but to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. Hundreds of years later, after that was said, Jesus said in Luke chapter 14 verse 11, for whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and he who humbles will be exalted. I will return with the second part of the 4-part series on humility and pride.